as the enterprise CISO, my pet peeve is when a vendor would engage me.
I had Ben Corll on the show. Ben is a field CISO at Zscaler, and we had a wide-ranging conversation about the future of cybersecurity, some of the topics that will be top of mind for CISOs in about 6 to 12 months. Also, Ben shared his perspective on some of the things that he wished CISOs would adjust in their relations to vendors, and the other way around. And it was an amazing conversation. Enjoy the show. Ben, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you talk a little bit about your current role? What's in your purview? What's your current position?
Absolutely. Really appreciate the invite, allowing me to be here
Certainly.
and take a moment or two just to introduce myself. So, Benjamin or Ben Corll. Currently, I serve as an advisory CISO or
Hmm.
field CISO, whatever term you like, with Zscaler. And that allows me to really take the years of experience that I have. I get to engage with some of our customers, some of our prospects, take a look at their program, and really give them advice on this is how I would advise you to improve the program that you already have in place. So it
Hmm.
allows me to engage with a lot of different people, look at different programs. So really do enjoy the role. And then I also get the benefit of going to different conferences, speaking, hopefully publishing an article or three a quarter. So really just get some thought leadership perspectives out there,
Hmm.
and really just engaging with other people in the community, the cybersecurity community.
Great, great. So this is kind of a snapshot of a point in time right now. But if we kind of roll the time machine back a little, how did you get into cybersecurity in the first place?
So I probably took one of the more traditional routes to get into cybersecurity, meaning I started in the IT, and I was probably an IT administrator. I started being a Unix administrator. So
Hmm.
started in IT, worked on everything from server support, operations, network engineering, and got into automation and scripting.
Hmm.
And then when firewalls in the mid 90s or late 90s started becoming more of a thing, it was generally going to be on a Unix box and Unix ACLs, things like that, IP tables. And as the Unix admin, it then fell on me to fulfill the role of maintaining those firewalls and those rules. So I really just jumped at that opportunity. And since then, I've spent the last 20 years then focused on just cybersecurity.
Hmm.
And the last 10 years or so, I have been fortunate to be the head of security programs. So again, I was probably the more traditional route of starting off just in IT in
Hmm.
general and work my way into cyber.
Awesome. That's it's amazing. It's cybersecurity as a field kind of exploded in importance over the years, and I think a lot more people are looking to make a career. Um, Whether it's more junior professionals, again, professionals looking to switch from IT to cybersecurity, or maybe even students kind of earlier on. What will be your advice from kind of your vantage point, 20 some years of experience? What would you recommend they should focus on to set them up for success in their career?
Yeah. Now, so first off, cyber is a fantastic career. So if you're considering working in cyber, my advice is just do it. But then figure out what interests you. And what I mean by this is stepping into cyber. You've got blue team, which are going to be your defenders. You've got red team, which are going to be your offensive. And everybody's, oh, being an ethical hacker, that's cool. I'm going to be a pen tester. That's just one one aspect of it. But then you also have people that are going to be governance, GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. There really is so many different types of roles. So
Hmm.
find out what interests you. And I tried for years to fit into being an analyst. but my ADHD in me did not allow me just to sit there do packet analysis all day. It just didn't resonate with me. So if I would have said, "Well, that's what cyber is," I would have burned out and I would have left, left the industry years ago. But
Hmm.
that's the great thing is find out what you're passionate about, what interests you, the things that you enjoy doing. Are you a more people person? Security awareness. We don't have enough people focused on that, and you
Hmm.
get to do marketing, you get to engage with people, you get to do more training. There really is such a broad range of skills that are needed inside security. So find out what interests you, give it
Hmm.
all a shot, and network, network, network. Talk to
Absolutely.
people. Not network management, network and engage with people, talk to them. What's your experience? And find out what worked for you and help hopefully you don't make the same mistakes they made. So just talk to people and find out what the opportunities are out there.
Certainly, it makes a lot of sense. Because at the end of the day, having a mentor, because I think that's what it sounds like what you mean by networking, finding a mentor, finding someone who is on the path you're considering but further along, who can give you, hey, you're better off investing time here, not there. This is a good
Correct.
certification to get, and this one is not. So this will all those kind of shortcuts and advice will go a long way. So it does make a lot of sense. Switching gears a little bit, it seems every now and then, as you know, we did a survey of our members, and we try to understand what's top of mind for a lot of people. It seems like things like ransomware, third-party
Mhm.
attacks, phishing, social engineering is top of mind for a lot of people. Imagine you have a crystal ball and you can see into the future, 6 months from now, 12 months from now. What would be top of mind for CISOs? It could be some of the existing kind of
Yep.
threats, but looking into the future, what do you think? Maybe some of them are emerging. What are the top three threats would be top of mind for CISOs in 1 year's time?
Over the next year, what I think, old is new, new is old. I think we're still going to struggle to
Hmm.
find and retain top people, top talent. And yes, we're sitting here at the beginning of 2023. Over the last 90 days, we've seen massive layoffs. I still think it's going to be difficult for us to find and keep quality people. So I think it's been an issue for a long time. It's going to continue to be an issue. Uh, Going into 2023, why we see some of these massive layoffs, we're going to have tighter budgets going forward and justifying new people, justifying new solutions. Not saying we all need new toys in order to solve solutions. People are what's going to get us ahead. But I
Hmm.
do think we will over the next year see tighter budgets as well. So people and money is still going to continue to be an issue. But I'm really starting to think, yes, you mentioned a couple of things like ransomware. We've been battling with malware for decades, and we will continue to do it. It's going to continue to be pervasive, but there's also a lot of chatter out there now on weaponized AI, and whether it's the chat GPT is the flavor of the day. But as you can start maliciously training some of these AI engines that are out there in order to make better phishing templates, or everyone goes out just a little bit different, but they look really really enticing, they're really good, or you use them to create more malware that's out there as well. So I think this weaponized AI is going to be something that we're going to have to figure out how
Hmm.
to, how to detect, how to defend, and you know, uh, our voices are out there, our mannerisms are out there. So understanding from a social engineering perspective how to detect when it's an actual live person who's calling you on a phone, you recognize the voice, that's going to again be something that we do need to take into account, deep fake and stuff like that.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. I think I attended a webinar. It was not at a conference, it was a webinar. And one of the vendors presented a live case. They actually played the sound. And it was, so the scenario was a tech person receives a call. Hey, I'm Jane. It's a VP of marketing. I'm stuck in traffic. I'm late for the meeting. I need to get a bypass. I need to access this particular document. Can you hook me up? And then it's AI bot talking to a live person, and like I'm an Uber, and so it's basically creating a story. And humans are conditioned to help, and this person's job is paid to help, right? So it was and it worked, right? So it just is fascinating. And this was before ChatGPT. It was, I don't know, 6 months ago, maybe even a year. And when I saw this was really frightening in terms of how technology deployed by bad actors can be so devastatingly persuasive and push the right buttons and kind of manipulate people who are well-meaning, well-intentioned, someone in technology, so they're aware of all the kind of various risks involved. And my mind was blown when I saw this, and I think probably more of that is coming both in text. And already I'm seeing threads and on Reddit and ChatGPT used to your point, craft phishing emails and things like this. So it's a fairly scary world where we're slowly driving into. So the question that I also had for you, you mentioned kind of networking, not networking in the computer network perspective, but networking, connecting with people. At the end of the day, one thing that I'm realizing that cybersecurity, it's a team sport, meaning CISOs learn from each other, they learn from vendors. It's a kind of united front, and that's how we win, right? Because it's the more often than not, cybersecurity organizations are not up against a teenager in a hoodie sometimes, but more often than not, those are enterprise-size organizations with management levels, state-sponsored. It's really, that's what a lot of people are up against. So it's only as a united front as we have a chance kind of to present something, defeat some of those attacks. And this, quite frankly, is what the biggest mandate of Athenia is, kind of bringing cybersecurity professionals together for learning networking. I'm sure you're speaking at conferences, you're plugged in all the various networks. What would you suggest we do more of? How would make Athenia more valuable for members? What are your thoughts?
No, and I love that the thought process, because you are absolutely right. Security is a team sport, and 15 years ago, we did not want to talk to each other. The security professionals, we did not want to air our dirty laundry, so to speak. We didn't want to say, "Hey, we have issues over here." We wanted to give the persona of we've got it all handled. But I think over the last several years, certainly, we as a community are speaking so much better, and we're able to say, hey, this is a problem that we have. How did you solve this over here? And we're able to come together, share experiences, share, this worked for us. No, we tried that. That actually didn't. It sounded like it was, but it wasn't going to do it. And I think as a community, having open dialogue, and it really comes down to trust. Do I trust that I'm able to share and it not get out? So do I know these people? Do I trust these people? Can I share with them? Is it going to stay here? That Chatham House rules of everything that's going to be talked about will stay here. It's not going to make it out of here. And understanding that we can be vulnerable with each other and say, everything I did, it wasn't perfect. I'm a human. I am flawed. I've got issues. I made a decision. It was a bad one. Now, how do I learn? How do I grow? And how do I share? We mentioned mentoring earlier. I want you to not make the mistakes that I made. So really having a place that we can communicate, where things are going to stay there, they're going to be trusted. But again, is it safe? Is it trusted? That's what we need.
So, and kind of from the technical perspective, what are some of the ways that Athenia can do from functionality perspective or from program perspective to kind of foster that understanding and environment? Because trust, it's a very unique construct. It's difficult to create and easy to lose, and we want to be kind of conscious of all the dynamics of communication of many to many or one to many. So we want to create something that's really valuable and effective, and not yet another network or yet another social network that kind of died out. So we're kind of very conscious to, so that we're creating something that's really kind of has staying power, but more importantly that we whatever we do has value for members.
And I think that's the key right there. It has to have value. It's going to take time. It's going to need organic growth, but you've got to give me value. If I log on to the Slack channel, am I the only one posting? Is there great banter? Is there good chatter? Are there channels that are of interest? Is it all about one topic that I'm not interested in? Or are there many different conversations I can jump into? Can I be engaged in topics that are of interest to me? And when a topic that now becomes of interest to me, can I go join another channel? Can I now go join? And can I find people that are those subject matter experts and directly engage with them when it's time? So Slack channels is just an example of communication channels, but also what type of articles are out there as well. I want to self-learn because I need to learn at least enough that I can ask intelligent questions. So give me those thought leadership articles that I can go. I don't really want a white paper. A white paper is going to be deep technical. When I need to go learn about AI, ML, I need to go learn about this, at least the basic of API in order to protect APIs, or even understand if, what is the art of possible there? Are there thought leadership materials that I can consume, educate myself, find out who some of the leading thoughts, who some of the leading minds are, so I can engage with them and help me at least be intelligent when I do engage them. I'm not going to ask and look like a complete moron. They're going to look and say, oh, he did the basics, so he at least tried. He didn't just come and say, tell me everything you know about this. So if you at least show that you tried, people are going to be a lot more welcoming. They're probably not going to shun you regardless, but when I go look for a community and look to get engaged, how open is it? How open? How active? That's the word I'm looking for. Open, is it active? Is it engaging? And is it kind? Are people talking down to each other or trying to build themselves up by tearing others down? Those, if you want to build trust, you need to avoid that.
Absolutely. And also to your point about value, give before taking. And it's interesting. It's a little bit of a segue. And well, to your point, we fairly early in this journey with specifically Slack is one of the channels for communication. We're fairly early. So I'm very keen on getting feedback like what you just provided. So if you have any specific tips, advice, we're very, very open. I want to make sure that whatever we're building is worthwhile for members. To the point, you brought up the kind of topic about being kind and providing value. I think you have a very unique perspective because you have such a breadth of experience as a cybersecurity executive. But now you're kind of a field CISO, almost kind of evangelist role for a cybersecurity vendor. And every time we bring the topic of vendors with CISOs, often evokes a very visceral reaction. There are certain kind of pet peeves that people have. Obviously, everyone relies on vendors to keep their organization secure, and a lot of them have very trusted relationships. But sometimes, like incentives, the way the incentives are structured creates certain behaviors, especially on the side of salespeople, that rub CISOs the wrong way, and you see flare-ups on LinkedIn once in a while. And because you've seen both worlds, you were in a cybersecurity professional role dealing with vendors, and now you kind of crossed over on the other side, and you'll see the world from the vendor perspective a little bit. What if you were again to look like 6 months in 2023, if you were to finish 2 sentences, one sentence would be, as a cybersecurity vendor, I wish CISOs would, and if you kind of fill in the blank. And on the flip side, as a CISO, as a cybersecurity executive, I wish vendors would. What would be some of the top 2 or 3 things you wish CISOs would kind of change or pay attention to in their dealings with vendors and the other way around?
Yeah. So as the enterprise CISO, my pet peeve is when a vendor would engage me and immediately say, "Let me show you a demo." Why am I jumping straight into a demo? You've told me no problems that you're going to solve for me. You've asked me nothing about my business. You don't know how my business operates. You don't know what my pain points are, but you want to just tell me what your product does. So you just want to generically sell me a product that is magically going to solve my problems, which you have no idea what they are because you didn't talk to me, you haven't related to me, you haven't built a rapport with me. So as an enterprise CISO, that really, really irked me. And this is how I coach, and you said now working for a vendor, the other side. Let's be honest and say everybody that are in my my sphere of friends groups, the peer CISOs. When you go to vendor side, it's not the other side. They say you have joined the dark side. So that you are no longer considered, a peer, you are now considered a vendor. I get it. That needs to change. Just because somebody joined a vendor does not mean that they are no longer to be trusted. They can still have valuable insights. Yes, they play for a different organization, but need to sit there and say, don't discount everything that a person who works for one particular organization or a vendor says. You also take what they say, take it with a grain of salt, because hey, they are there to they work for one organization, but so do you. So don't just discount it immediately, and ask for references. So rather than me just sitting here on the vendor side, when I go and engage with a vendor, what I am the vendor. When I'm engaging with an enterprise CISO, I'm not just sitting there telling them that, asking the problems, not just trying to build a relationship, but as I'm listening to that, understanding the problem that they have, relaying how I addressed those types of problems in the past, I like to then say, can I give you a reference? That sounds like the problem that we had at Acme. Let me put you in touch with the CISO or the director of security at Acme, and don't just take my word for it. Let me put you. So it's helping them, it's networking with them, and it's putting them in touch with somebody who's going to give them hopefully the straight scoop. So if you don't believe you can trust me, let me put you in touch with somebody who you can trust if you think I have ulterior motives.
Absolutely, because it's about intent. The intent is to help and to teach, not to sell. It's really
Yes.
it's from that perspective, which makes a lot of sense. Because to your point, if I don't deem the problem your product is solving important, I have no interest in spending my time listening about the product. However, if I find out that the problem that I thought I had solved is not really solved, or the problem that I'm spending a third of my budget, I can spend 5% of the budget, then you got my interest. And that's something I need to know. So it's really
absolutely.
So
and you said it earlier. This is a team sport. We're all in this together. We may be playing for different teams, but we're on the same side. And because we're all on the same side, we need to be working together.
Absolutely. Ben, I know we're coming up on time. This was awesome. Where can people find you? Are you on LinkedIn, Twitter? What's the best way to connect?
LinkedIn is my platform of choice. So LinkedIn is
Excellent.
where I do, that's where I post. That's where I connect with people. That's how I communicate with them. So yes, LinkedIn is my preference.
Excellent. Well, Ben, thank you so much for coming on.
All right, appreciate it.